Welcome to my channel, The King Leeway. My name is King, and today I am here in Dumaguete, Philippines, and I am at a restaurant called, let me show you the menu, Cafe Racer, yeah. And the reason I'm at this place, I was introduced to this place by a YouTuber, Geo in the Philippines. So he did a little video about this, so I figured, hey, I'm gonna come by and check this place out. So before I go into anything else, the title of this is Can This Be Love? The movie that kind of traumatized me about Filipinos. But before I get into the topic, I'm gonna tell you what foods I have. So I'm gonna start with the appetizer. Look at this. They gave me some Spam fries. Yeah, I'm looking at the menu. Yeah, it's called Spam fries with honey mustard dip. So I have some fries and Spam, honey mustard dip. Then the next item, as I look on my menu here, is I got the honey garlic chick steak right here. So yeah. So, oh, and one more thing, I got the watermelon slush. So, before I start eating and talking about my topic is, I want to break down the price. So, I'll even show you the menu. So for the Spam fries, it's 185 pesos. That's under $4 US. And then as I flip the menu over, this is called the Chef Special. So I got the honey garlic steak for 195 pesos, which is about $4 US. And going back to the watermelon slush, it's 90 pesos. So overall, this is a $10 US meal. Oh, and I'm sorry for some of the viewers I have in Korea. It's 10,000 won, manon, for all of this, which is a pretty good deal for what I've got out of it. So yeah, so far with the presentation, I'm not disappointed. And right behind me, as you can see, there's a Volkswagen van, or like for those that watch Scooby-Doo, the mystery machine type van. It's a bar right there behind me. So overall, this is a racing theme, since it's called Cafe Racer. And if you do like to come drink alcohol, they have like special packages deals for groups of 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I'm not a drinker, so I'm not going to be drinking any alcohol. So before I start the topic, I'm going to dig into the Spam fries here. And I'm going to dip this into the honey mustard. Yeah, yummy. Not bad. Take a look. So yeah. Wow. Very good. So far. Thank you, Gio. Hopefully I'll run into you this week. Now, so my title is Can This Be Love? Well, why am I saying that title, Can This Be Love? Well, Can This Be Love is a Filipino movie. It was released in 2005 of April 27th. It stars a male actor named Hero Angelus. And the other co-star is Sandera Park, which she's a South Korean K-pop star. And for those that know Sandera Park, or Dara, in the group 21. So those two started in that movie. Of course, just by the title, it's a love story. So I had a chance to watch that movie, I don't know, years ago, almost about maybe 10 years ago. I stumbled on it in YouTube. So when I watched that movie, it kind of traumatized me in a good and bad way. So, and it's still funny. I kind of laugh about it a little bit. it is, you know, a cheesy love story. But before I get more into that movie, why it traumatized me in a good or bad way, I'm gonna give a little background of, you know, what did I learn about the Philippines, or what did I learn about Filipinos? Now, growing up in Los Angeles, California, it's a very diverse community. We have Koreatown, we have Little Tokyo, we have Chinatown, and we even have Filipino Town. And yes, we have Jollibees in Los Angeles. Now we got tons of them. So every time I walk, there's a Jollibees. So even that's why I don't even eat at Jollibees too much, because I have access to it so many. So that's the thing. But I remember growing up in the early or late 80s, and my one exposure to a Filipino on TV is, this was a young little boy named Ernie Reyes Jr. I was like, Ernie Reyes Jr., who the heck is he? But he caught my eye. And he was in the show, and I think it was on ABC, called Sidekicks. And I think a policeman named Jill Gerard, who was a star in Buck Rogers, an 80s sci-fi movie. For those that know Jill Gerard, Ernie Reyes teams up with him and actually ends up living with him, and they kind of go and solve crimes and all that. So that was like my first exposure to Ernie Reyes Jr., who has been in so many movies, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He actually was a fighter. So currently, I don't know, right now he has some health issues, but that was my first exposure to a Filipino, especially on TV in America, you know. So I was like, wow. And the funny thing is, while I was in elementary school in the United States, there was a Filipino kid. He looked like Ernie Reyes Jr. I was thinking, and his name was, I think, Ernie. So I was like, could that be the same one? But I don't know till this day, and I'm not gonna worry about it. So that was kind of like my exposure to Filipinos in general. So most of my knowledge was, I didn't know that Philippines was full of 7,000 plus islands. I had no knowledge of that. So yeah. Another thing is just growing up in Los Angeles, going to a Filipino household or a Filipino party, I learned a few things. Like, if any of you, some of you who watch Joe Coy, the comedian, I remember this when he talked about, like, okay, there's a thing called the Cool Whip Tupperware, okay? And I remember being at a friend's house. I wanted some Cool Whip. So I took out the Cool Whip thinking, cool, I could put Cool Whip on my pie. Well, inside the Cool Whip Tupperware is not Cool Whip. It was more lechon and meat inside. I was like, what the heck is this crap? Where's the Cool Whip? He goes, oh, you don't know. So that I learned a little bit right there. Going into a Filipino household. I still laugh about it till this day. So that was kind of a little background of what I've learned about Filipinos. So most of my knowledge was in America. Well, before I go, I'm gonna eat some more food. So I'm gonna just torture some of you. So I'm gonna eat some more Spam fries. Yeah, good old Spam. Look at that honey mustard. Yeah. Oh, another thing that was kind of shocker to me, because, you know, me growing up as an Asian American, mostly Korean, Chinese, and Japanese, we use chopsticks. In Thailand and the Philippines, we use fork and knife. And of course, one thing we all Asians have common, rice. So there's tons of rice that we eat. Especially here, it's more white rice. And in like Korea, you know, we have a mixture of different rices that we eat. And we don't eat a whole lot of it. We just eat one little bowl, and then we eat all the sides. So let me chew into this honey steak. Let's take a look here. Yay. All right. So there's a honey steak. Oh, this watermelon slush is pretty good. Yummy. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty good food. And then, oh yeah, should eat some veggies. It's hard to have a lot of veggies on the plate here in the Philippines. It's a lot of meat and rice. Pretty good. Now the background before I talk about Can This Be Love, my other exposure was a Filipino-American movie called The Debut, which stars Dante Bosco, who is a Filipino AM, that's what they call it here, Filipino Americans. He started in that movie, and this was like my introduction in that movie, The Debut. Eddie Garcia. I was like, wow, who's Eddie Garcia? He's a famous actor, and the sad thing is he just passed away. So I got exposed to who Eddie Garcia is, or, you know, some of the famous Filipino actors came out in that movie, which I had no idea in that movie, The Debut. And then, of course, another funny exposure is everything is pronounced in P, you know, so everything is like one of Dante Bosco's brother plays like a native Filipino, you know, he has an accent. So instead of the vinegar, they'll say, could you pass the vinegar, or could everything, or the girl says, yeah, I speak Tagalog fluently. So it was like pronounced in P. And then certain vocabularies was funny, like, I'm sorry if I butcher this actor's name. Another famous actor is Terso Cruz III. And he was actually in the movie Can This Be Love? So the whole movie, I was just laughing when all he would say is, Ruben, you gallivanting with your friends, stop throwing those stupid cartoons. So that was so they would use like big words that just is not normal in American English, you know. So sometimes I even throw it at some of my Filipino American friends. Hey, Ben, are you gallivanting around? Stop gallivanting with your friends. So that's what I remember. Terso Cruz III, he plays the father, and he just kept saying, stop gallivanting. It was just funny. I just remember that movie till this day. It's still I still have a mental picture of that. So sometimes anytime I have free time, I like to watch that movie, The Debut. So it's mostly life about Filipino Americans in Los Angeles. So, and you know, typical same struggles. So yeah. And then, of course, in that movie, I had the pleasure to meet the guy who was a DJ. He was a local DJ. I actually had a chance to meet him one time. So I forgot DJ Icy Ice. He was working for Power 106 at the time. So, because I have a Filipino American friend that knew him. So yeah, and then I learned things like the barkada. So that was my exposure to the Filipinos culture in Los Angeles, because especially in Los Angeles, we got tons of them. And then another exposure is because my mother was a nurse. She's retired. At her hospital, when I went to go visit her, most of the nurses were either the nurses from Korea or Philippines. So I was like, wow, there's so many Filipino nurses here. What's going on? So that was even a common thing here in Los Angeles. So I got exposure to see a lot of the Filipinas growing up. So that was it made, you know, it was something I remember a lot. So that movie 2001, The Debut, wow, opened things up. And of course, you know, I got more curious and curious as time went on, even as old as I am now. But before I talk more about the movie, I'm gonna eat some more food here. All right, so here it is. Oh, this is good. I'm not disappointed. Wow. I'm gonna have to thank you. might have to buy him a coffee for this. Mmm. Yummy. Mmm. I am not disappointed. I feel it's worth the $10 for this. Mmm. This is good. Mmm. Mmm. I'm gonna go a little crazy. Mmm. 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 Oh yeah. And then I'm learning a few things. When you ask for water, ask for service water, or else you can get bottled water and you're gonna be paying for it. Service water. All right. Now, so I talked about the background. Now, I saw the movie Can This Be Love? So the movie's about Hero Angelus plays a guy who writes English papers for people, and then Sandera Park is a typical South Korean who come to the Philippines to learn English. Because why is it? It's much cheaper instead of spending lots of money at the Korean academy called a hagwon for a lot of the money. So a lot of Koreans flock to the Philippines. I never knew that over 1 out of 4 tourists is a South Korean coming here. I had no idea. So, I live in Korea now since 2015. Of course, I haven't been there as much because I'm pretty much a digital nomad. And most Koreans talk about, this is where I'm going. I'm going to Cebu. I'm going to the Philippines. Because Koreans do travel a lot, So they come to the Philippines to learn English. So in the movie, one of the scenes that kind of jumped out to me is like Sandera Park was sitting and she was kind of eating alone, and then 4 Filipinas walked by and just said something in Tagalog. It wasn't pleasant. It was a negative thing, like, oh, another Korean here and all this. And I was just kind of like, wow, those ladies just tripped out on her because it made me think like, okay, so if I go to the Philippines because I do look Korean, and would I get that kind of a treatment or, disrespect or something? It made me like wonder, even if out of the bunch of Koreans here, I am not a native Korean, I'm an American. I don't even possess a Korean passport. I'm a United States citizen. And I'm just like, whoa, is that what's gonna happen? But, coming here, I've never got any of that. The only thing I get, as usual in my other videos, is, oh, you speak good English for a Korean. I'm just like, English is all I knew. So that kind of traumatized me a little bit, because since I think, I do have a little understanding how Korean society is, Korean culture is, the general stereotype is a little bit true, like Koreans kind of look down on Southeast Asians or something like that, It's just a stereo. But, most of the Koreans that I've talked to that's been to the Philippines, or I've interacted, they've been very respectful. They didn't berate a Filipino. So, it's not entirely true. So, and of course, for me, being in the Philippines, like if I'm at like Cebu, every step I take, there's a Korean next to me, a native Korean. But no one knows I'm an American, a Korean American Gilpo. So that's one of those things. So that kind of stood out to me. I'm like, okay, is it true? But continuing on, that was the bad thing that traumatized me, but I don't think it's true. Another part in the movie Hero and Angelus had, I think, a friend, a Filipina. And of course, the Filipina was dating a South Korean guy who was practicing English, studying English. So they were dating in that movie, you know? And that guy was cool. He was a good guy. He took care of her. But at the end, he ended up breaking her heart because, and I knew it wasn't because he was messing around with another Filipina. I knew what was up. Even before the next scene came out, since I do know something about Korean culture and Korean society. So in the scene, he broke up with her because apparently his father was very wealthy in Korea, and he told him, if you do not leave her, I will cut you off from everything. So he basically succumbed to the pressure of his father because he didn't want to be cut off from the money that his father has. His father's wealthy. Because one thing that I know about Korea is bloodline is very thick. And back then, even in the early 2090s, bloodline is very thick. So, and then in my other video, I talked about copinos, about, the abandoned children here by their South Korean fathers. So that kind of left an impression like, whoa. But, I'm like, nope, I'm glad I don't have to succumb to that pressure. So, and of course, I'm currently, in a relationship with a Filipina. So I told her, that's one thing you're not going to worry about, my family. I don't succumb to my pressure of my family. So if my dad and mom says, no, you're going to date a Korean, I said, okay, goodbye. I'm my own man. So at least, she wouldn't have to worry about that. I don't have that societal pressure. I don't deal with that societal pressure. So that kind of left an impression like, man, that sucks. That really sucks. And then in the movie, I knew this was going to happen. Sandera Park, Hero Angelus. Of course, Sandera's Park father came. And they had a meeting, and the Korean father didn't say much, but I knew what he was kind of thinking and feeling at the time. And of course, it was kind of funny because Hero Angelus was eating kimchi, and then he was like, whoa. So that was kind of the funny part of the movie when he was eating that. Then, the father did not say much in that situation. So pretty much, I could tell by the South Korean's father's look that he didn't really approve of his Korean daughter dating the Filipino guy. So I could tell, I could just sense and feel it, the way the climax of that movie was. So yeah, it was just very interesting for that. So yeah, so that movie left a big impression on me. So, but of course, eventually I made it out here to the Philippines, and I have nothing bad about it. I love it here. So that was the thing. At the end of the movie, it doesn't go any farther. The ending was like, he tells us, Sandera Park, like, I'll see you again, because she had to go back to Korea. That's kind of common, because when you're doing a language school, you're only there for 6 months, and then you're going to head right back to South Korea. So all he says at the end of the movie is, in Korean, 사랑해요 means I love you. That's what the ending of it. So sorry for the spoiler alert, but that's, it's an old movie. So the movie's 14 years old. So yeah. So, but yeah, that movie, Can This Be Love, left a big impression on me. But now I don't, so it's not a negative thing, not a positive. I still kind of laugh about that movie. And then when I talk to like Filipinos about that movie, they kind of laugh about it. So yeah, so that kind of left an impression on me. So I really didn't know much. But now, like when I see bloggers like, of course I mentioned Gio in the Philippines, now things started to pique more of my interest. Ricky, Life Beyond the Sea, you know, because they're here in, well, Ricky was here in Dumaguete and Gio is still in Dumaguete, so that kind of really piqued my interest about, you know, the Philippines. And then, you know, finally I took the leap in 2015, went to Korea, worked my, you know, butt off to teach English, and then now I'm just traveling, I'm working online, and, you know, that's how my life is pretty much. So before I go, let's eat some more food. Yeah, because this is a partial mukbang, you know. So yeah, here's a mukbang right here. Yeah, this is still interesting. Spam. Yeah, and then just a little side note, in Korea, during thing called Chuseok, in, you know, the fall harvest, the Korean Thanksgiving. Yeah, we gift spam a lot in Korea during Chuseok. So yeah, so every time I see a spam cam in Korea, I'm just laughing my ass off. So yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna take one more bite before I end this video. All right, here, take a look at this. The chef's special right here. Yummy. Oh, I love that watermelon slush. All right, and one more time, I'll show you the menu again. So, if you want bang for your buck, pick one of the chef's class special. And sometimes, yeah, since I've been in the Philippines a while, I do ask, is it in stock? And then you got some of the appetizers that I am eating right now. So I'm having so much fun with this right now. So yeah, I am not disappointed. And just a reminder, you can just Google where this place is, okay? Cafe Racer. And cool thing is when you go out the door, you're right next to the ocean. So yeah. So it's a nice place, not too far. And usually I've done a lot of walking. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to walk because I need to, you know, walk all this food off. So I'm burning a lot of calories here. So yeah. Now, if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please subscribe and comment. And, you know, if any of you been here to Cafe Racer, yeah, give your opinion about the food and the atmosphere and the ambience about this place. So wherever you are in the world, have a nice day. Take care.